Right now on Arkansas Crime Watch, an online predator busted.
We actively search for these situations.
A Cabot man now behind bars after trying to set up a sexual encounter with a 15-year-old girl. A mother and her 2-year-old son shot and killed.
I would lay down my life for them.
Where this cold case stands now, nearly a year after the brutal murders. Operation Cash Out.
They're ultimately responsible for what goes on inside on their property and in their business.
Jacksonville police hit the jackpot after several businesses are caught operating illegal gambling machines.
Through 75 counties and hundreds of investigations, from the most violent crimes to petty infractions. This is Arkansas Crime Watch with Kevin Kelly.
We begin tonight with this man, 36-year-old Michael Sean Kelly. As we speak, he's behind bars, serving a 13-year sentence after pleading guilty to internet stalking of a child. Good evening and thanks for watching Arkansas Crime Watch on Fox16.com. I'm Kevin Kelly. Investigators with the Pulaski County Sheriff's Office set the bait earlier this year. It didn't take long for Kelly to bite. Tyler Thomason walks us through the case and who deputies found with the suspect when they finally met face to face.
It started with a question about the new year. That was the beginning of the end for Michael Sean Kelly. We obtained evidence from his case which timelines his online conversation with a girl on Facebook. She tells him she's 15. Unknown to Kelly, the she was actually a Pulaski County Sheriff's deputy responding to his pleas to hang out. It quickly evolved into selfies, talk of smoking marijuana, and pleas for sex. At one point, Kelly asks if the girl has cable TV, so if he brings his 3-year-old daughter, the toddler can watch Paw Patrol. The messages turn to action when Kelly heads from Cabot to South Jacksonville, hoping to meet his digital date, and is instead met with handcuffs. His daughter and marijuana were in the car as well.
Staying trained up and attending as many classes as we can is how we try to stay in front of these.
The Pulaski County Sheriff's Office says they haven't done cases like this as often as they used to, but they remain a priority.
If it's reported to us, we will investigate it. We actively search for these situations.
Kelly pleaded guilty late last month. A judge sentenced him to 13 years in prison.
That's the whole purpose for doing the job is to get that result.
Because of the plea agreement, Kelly avoided a possible life sentence. He must also register as a sex offender. As for his daughter, authorities say she was turned over to a relative. A Little Rock man also behind bars after admitting to secretly recording 2 teenage girls showering inside his home. 40-year-old Casey Tanner was sentenced earlier this week to 3 years behind bars. Authorities say Tanner's wife discovered roughly 170 videos of the girls on his laptop over a 6-month period back in March. She immediately called authorities and told them that when she and another mother confronted him, he admitted to the crime. 4 days later, he turned himself in. In court, Tanner apologized for his action, calling them childish, stupid, and inconsiderate. He must also register as a sex offender. Jacksonville police hit the jackpot after receiving numerous complaints about illegal gambling at dozens of local businesses. Thanks to Operation Cash Out, 62 gambling machines were confiscated, $200,000 in cash seized, and 14 store owners or managers arrested. Lieutenant Richard Betterton says the success of the undercover sting was due in large part to the citizens of Jacksonville who notified them of the illegal activity.
Over the last several months, so many people were when they would go to a gas station to try to get gas or just their everyday traveling through the city, it was hard for them to get in because of all the cars from the gambling.
Officers executed 11 search warrants on gas stations as well as retail and convenience stores. Lieutenant Betterton said players, were being paid in cash, gas, gift cards, or lottery tickets. Those arrested now face a slew of charges, including operating a gambling house and use of gambling equipment. And speaking of illegal activity, a Clark County Sheriff's deputy has resigned, another discipline following a night hunting investigation from October 25th. Game and fish officer found the pair in the woods after 8 p.m. just south of Amity with a gun. That's what you see here, along with an ice chest and a dead deer hanging from a tree. A report states Andrew Samuel admitted to shooting the deer from a bathroom window using a flashlight to spot it. Samuel was cited for night hunting. The Clark County Sheriff confirmed he later resigned as a deputy. Josh Waldrum was cited for aiding and abetting. The sheriff says Waldrum has been disciplined.
It's just hard to believe that people would do something like this. And I feel like somebody knows something.
A Little Rock mother not giving up on finding whoever shot and killed her daughter and 2-year-old grandson. Almost a year ago, police found the two in an apartment parking lot off Baseline Road. LRPD is now offering a $50,000 reward for information about the double homicide. Rochelle Turner sitting down with the victim's mother, who was still praying for justice.
Yeah, these pictures here, they just brighten my day.
Pictures like this are all that's left for Pamela Lewis.
That's actually where my strength comes from. I come and I look at these pictures and knowing that, you know, I know that she was happy.
Almost a year ago, her 23-year-old daughter, Jamaica Lewis, and her grandson, Jashawn Watson, were found shot and killed in the parking lot of the Eagle Hills Apartments just off West Baseline Road. Lewis says she misses them every day.
Whew, if I could die and bring them back, that's how much. I would rather be gone than them. I would lay down my life for them.
Come on, Mama.
Lewis says her granddaughter, J.C. Jean Watson, was inside the car that night as someone murdered her mother and brother.
And she is truly a blessing. I thank God for how he watched over her that night. She's developing well, 10-month-old, she's walking, doing everything that a child this age should be doing.
Lewis now raising the little girl who only knows her mother and brother through pictures like this.
My baby, Jamaica, was so outgoing, had a heart of gold, would help anybody. She loved life. When Jashawn came in her life, that was her little world.
A pair that left the world too soon, and now Lewis just wants the people responsible off the streets.
Lord God, let them come forth. Touch them, let them know, convict them for their wrongness.
Lewis, by the way, says her granddaughter will be turning 1 next month. If you know anything about this double homicide case, give Little Rock Police a call. Keep in mind you can remain anonymous. Little Rock Police say a woman is in serious condition after being hit by a stray bullet while lying in her own bed. It happened Monday night after 7 at the Westbridge Apartments on Labette Manor Drive. Officers found the woman inside one of the apartments. Police still looking for the shooter. 2 bail bondswomen facing charges in connection to a bogus arrest in Garland County. Sheriff's deputies arrested Camelia Chisholm and Catherine Maher on false imprisonment charges. This all stems from an incident back in June. The police report shows Chisholm and Maher went inside a home, handcuffed a woman, and went through her phone. The Bail Bond Licensing Board told us Chisholm's license has not been active for some time now. Maher's license had been active since February.
The laws on apprehension in the state of Arkansas are clear. We can only arrest someone that has missed court and we have active warrant on that person.
Investigators believe the 2 suspects were there to apprehend the victim's ex-husband, who was not in the home. In tonight's Crime Tracker report, an Arkansas parole absconder who is also wanted as a suspect in Memphis is now back behind bars. Jason Hobson had been on the run since he was accidentally released from the county jail 2 months ago. At the time of the mistake, he was serving a 20-year sentence and wanted in Memphis for aggravated kidnapping and assault. North Little Rock police got a tip that he might be at a nearby house, which is where they found him and placed him under arrest. Officials in Helena, West Helena, considering a plan to impose a 24-hour curfew in high-crime neighborhoods. Officials are now scrambling to cut down violence after 3 homicides in 2 days last month. The chief says he was going to submit the plan to the city council this week, but it's been delayed. The mayor says one problem with it is they don't have a lot of facilities to hold people who are arrested. The city already has a curfew for people under the age of 18. A Faulkner County man behind bars after police say he threw a knife at them. 26-year-old Kendall Noley was arrested after police were called about a domestic disturbance. When police pulled up, they said Noley was holding 2 knives in his hand. Police tried to get closer to him, and that's when they say he threw a knife at police before dropping the other one and running. Noley was booked into the Faulkner County Detention Center. Turning now to a cold case that spans more than 40 years in 2 counties. It might be getting a fresh new look. Tonight, we profile the murder investigation of Linda Edwards. She was a Garland County Sheriff's deputy who went missing and was found dead in 1977. Tyler Thomason takes a look back at the case file and gets a response from the prosecutor that hints at the next step toward possible closure.
Are you held by the past? Oh, let it go into a total nothingness, and instead let there flow the joy of the presence of God that so enfolds you, it brings all you can possibly know.
A handwritten poem titled New Light sparks memories of an old, dark secret. That secret starts here. A canopy of trees blankets Jack Mountain in Hot Spring County. It was here in 1977 hunters found the remains of Linda Edwards. The 29-year-old Garland County Sheriff's deputy had been missing for months. Her murder would become a thorn in law enforcement's side for decades. The investigation eventually slowed to a crawl. But at least one detective is still on the case, Linda's son, Toby.
Being a hamster on a hamster wheel. Just can't get anywhere.
He keeps a box of case files, photos, and other mementos. At the time of his mom's disappearance, reports indicate she was pregnant. Documents timeline her on-again, off-again affair with a married Hot Springs city cop, Thurman Abernathy.
He didn't want her to have the kid because he was up for a promotion to lieutenant.
In interviews with detectives, Abernathy says the last time he saw Linda was about a week before she went missing. After she went missing, detectives noticed how clean Abernathy's patrol car was. Toby, age 6 at the time, tells me he vividly remembers a final conversation between his mom and Abernathy in the parking lot of a grocery store.
It was dusk, and Thurman rolled up in his duty car. They were talking back and forth, and I wasn't really paying attention, and then it got heated. And I'm standing up right beside her in the chair, in the seat, and I heard her say, "This baby has as much right to live as any other child." And I'm paraphrasing, and she just sighed real big and said, "Thurman, I can't do this here."
Reports confirm Abernathy was arrested in connection to Linda's death, but a lack of evidence resulted in the case getting dropped. Abernathy has never been charged with any crime. He's maintained his innocence for more than 40 years. The 80-year-old former suspect is suffering health problems and couldn't answer any questions. I reached out to the Hot Spring County prosecutor, who would be the one to bring forward any charges in the case. She told me in an email, "Most of my questions, quote, will not be answered because they relate to the evidence or persons of interest." But she did confirm plans are underway to exhume Linda's remains for further DNA testing.
When it does unravel, it will unravel.
Toby is left in the same spot he's been in since the 70s, with more questions than answers and haunting memories of the day he, his sister, and his dad learned Mom was gone.
It was a tough day for all 3 of us.
From time to time, Toby goes back to that poem, which is also inscribed on Linda's headstone.
God's goodness, His truth, from now on, be all that you know.
And beneath the grave could be a place where new evidence may one day shed new light.
We did speak with Thurman Abernathy and his wife by phone. We learned Mr. Abernathy is currently suffering from Alzheimer's. No date has been set for the exhumation of Linda Edwards' body. Tonight's Mug of the Week goes to this man, Elijah Pitchford, who either fell asleep while being booked or just flat out refused to look at the camera. Either way, he certainly got a wake-up call, and it came in the form of a slew of charges. He's now facing aggravated robbery, possession of firearms, and theft of property. As we leave you, here's a look at Arkansas's Most Wanted. We want to remind you all of the suspects you've seen tonight are innocent until proven guilty in the court of law. Remember, if you have any information on any of these cases we talked about tonight, you're asked to call your local police department. Thanks for watching Arkansas Crime Watch. I'm Kevin Kelly. Be smart, be safe, and if you see something, say something. I'll see you tomorrow night on Fox 16 News at 5:30 and 9.